Lost Horrors presents Who Is This Woman? But first, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment, and turn on the notification bell to receive all updates. It was a snowy, moonless night. The chilling scream of a bobcat echoed as I arrived at my parents' house, where we had just finished Thanksgiving dinner in northern Michigan. Exhausted, I finally made it to bed when my pregnant girlfriend asked me for some nachos with cheese. I had no choice. I put on my shoes and went to my car. Because of the cold, it took a while to start, which only frustrated me more. But eventually the engine turned over and I drove to the store to get what she had asked for. As I was leaving the store, heading back to my car, I saw a shadow moving in the corner. What looked like a person standing near the dumpster, just outside the light. I took a step closer. The figure turned to me with a giant grin. Her face was so worn that it looked cracked all over. She was crouched down and appeared to be chewing on something. I stayed to see what it was. To my horror, it was a severed arm, old and rotting as if it had been decaying for weeks. Then I saw her reach into her pocket and noticed the outline of what seemed to be a knife. She looked up and lunged at me. I shoved her away and ran back into the store, frantically yelling at the cashier to call the police. I turned and locked the door. The cashier asked what was happening. I frowned and said, "Please, just call the police." I looked outside and saw that the woman had moved across the street, still watching me with that menacing grin. "There's a very strange woman out there, and she wants to kill me," I told the cashier. He glanced outside, then looked at me and said, "Sir, I don't see anyone out there." Those words shook me, even to this day. When the police arrived at the gas station, they began searching the area. One of the officers asked me to explain what had happened. I gave them all the details, but after searching, another officer came back and said they found nothing. I led them to where I first saw her. We spent several minutes looking everywhere, but there was no sign that she had ever been there. The officer shook his head and looked at me like I was crazy. "Are you feeling okay?" he asked, judging me. I was about to defend myself, but then I started thinking, I was tired and I had a couple of drinks earlier, so I just said, "Yes, sir. Sorry for the trouble." "All right, get some rest." "Good night," he said, and I left for home. I got back around 4 a.m. My girlfriend greeted me sounding annoyed. "Where were you? Are you okay?" she asked in a strange tone. I told her everything that had happened, but of course she didn't believe me. I couldn't sleep that night. I sat in bed questioning my sanity. Was any of it real? Am I crazy? Maybe I was just tired, but how could I imagine something I saw? If I saw it, why was there no evidence? Where was the arm? Where did she go? Before I knew it, it was 7 a.m., and I had to go to work. I put on my vest, but as I reached into my pocket I noticed there was a hole in it. That hole hadn't been there before. Had she grabbed my vest while I was running? If so, that only proved even more that it was real. I couldn't believe it. My mind was spinning, until my girlfriend kissed me goodbye. At work, I told my friends what had happened, but none of them believed me either. They just joked about it all day. That night I had a bowling tournament, so I had something else to focus on. After getting home, I changed into my bowling shoes and got ready to leave. "Girlfriend, what time will you be back?" My girlfriend smiled and asked. I said, "Paul, around 11, don't worry." At 10:30, the tournament finally ended. We won. I was so excited that I had completely forgotten about the woman. As we were leaving, I noticed something in the parking lot. It was her, that crazy woman. We stared at each other for what felt like an eternity. Then, slowly, she started moving toward me, waving her knife in the air and making slashing motions. I ran to my car and started the engine. Suddenly, she was standing right in front of me, staring. She leaned in closer to my window and whispered in a deep, raspy voice, "Woman, let me in." I froze in fear. But I snapped back to reality when she banged on the roof of my car and screamed. I floored the gas pedal, faster and faster, until she was gone. When I got home, I told my girlfriend what had happened. Just like last time, she didn't believe me. I started thinking I was crazy. I wanted to forget about it and sleep. But later that night, I woke up, and she was in my room. She kept repeating, "Let me in," over and over as she walked closer. "Woman, please, Paul, don't make this harder. Let me in." I wondered, why wasn't my girlfriend waking up? The woman was right next to me now. She raised a knife, and suddenly everything went black. I woke up with a jolt, drenched in sweat. And then I remembered, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a house. I don't have a family. A voice interrupted my thoughts. Voice, "Hurry, open up. It's time for your medication." Woman, Let me in.